Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've filmed. It's close to 4 or 5 weeks. I've been very busy. Uh, I went to Washington for a week for a conference, which was really fun. I was able to tour Mount Rainier, which was amazing. It was on 15 to 20 foot snow drifts, and was able to touch the tops of pine trees that are like 15, 20 feet tall. I was able to touch the tops of them because the snow was so high on the mountain that it was like 50 degrees that day. So it was very doable. Walking on top of the snow it was fun. I enjoyed it and was able to go to a conference. Hopefully, I'll be back to filming regularly as we're going forward. This will be chapters 20 and 21. I'm a little bit behind where I was left off, so thanks for watching and enjoying. Hopefully you're learning. Again, take some time to read this, as I've said before, and hopefully you're learning from the Word more importantly than learning from me. And you're also in the Word regularly. And take some time to pray that God will teach you through the text. So this is Genesis 20, starting verse 1. When you're ready, you can hit play. From there, Abraham journeyed towards the territory of Negev and lived between Kadesh and Shur. And he so journeyed to Gurah. And Abram said to Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. And Abram said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Amalek king of Gur sent and took Sarah, but God came to Amalek in a dream by night and said to him, "Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." Again, Abraham, if you've been listening and reading through this is something Abraham keeps doing. He keeps claiming his wife is his sister, which he just is a goofball that way. He just continues to not trust God to protect him, thinking that because she's beautiful that someone's going to kill him and take her as his wife. Now Amalek had now approached her. Verse 4, now Amalek had not approached her. So he said, "Lord, will you kill an innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, 'She is my sister'? For she herself said, 'He is my brother. Integrity in my heart and in the innocence of my hands I have done this.' Then God said to him in a dream, 'Yes, I know that you have not done this in the integrity of your heart, and it was I who kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I do not let you touch her. Now then, return to your man's wife. Return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, so that you will not. So he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, you and all of yours." So basically, God prevents Amalek from sleeping with Sarah, even after Abraham lied to Amalek and said it was his sister. So God says, if you return Amalek to Abraham, who's a prophet, Abraham will pray, and you will be forgiven and restored. So Amalek rose early this is verse 8. So Amalek rose early in the morning and called all of his servants and told them all these things, and the men were very afraid. Then Amalek called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? And now I have sinned against you, that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin. You have done to me these things that ought not to be done." So, and Amalek said to Abraham, "What did you see? What did you that you did? What did you see that you did this thing?" Sorry, I'm reading very terribly. Abraham said, "I did this because I thought there is no fear of God at this place, and that they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And then God caused me to wander from my father's house. I said to her, 'This is the kindness you must be to me at every place in which we come. Say to me, he is my brother.'" So, I mean, again, I didn't say this today, but it's true that Abraham's wife was his half sister. So he's not completely lying to Amalek, but he's being deceptive because he's not saying that it's also his wife. He should have said, "This is my half sister, but she's also my wife." He doesn't do that. He tells Amalek it's just his sister, so it's a half. If you want to call it a half lie, I don't know, but to me it's still a lie. It's deception, and he was really more carried about himself. And again, he's not trusting God to keep him safe. He's basically believing these people are going to kill Abraham and take his wife. And instead of trusting God that he can handle that and deliver them, he doesn't do that. So verse 14, then Amalek took oxen and sheep, male servants and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him. And Amalek said, behold, my land is before you. You dwell where it pleases you. To Sarah he said, behold, I have given you your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you. And before everyone you are vindicated. Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Amalek, and also healed his wife and female slaves, so that they could bear children. For the Lord had closed all their wombs of the house of Amalek because of Sarah and Abraham's wife. So Amalek returns Sarah to Abraham, and then God opens up their wombs. Well, Abraham prays for healing, so God heals their land, heals Amalek, but he also allows the women to bear children. So at one point, God stopped the women from bearing children because he was going to shut down their nation for what they had done, even though they were really innocent in the whole thing. But because Abraham was a prophet and a holy man to God, God took, I don't know if God took it personal. I don't like using that terminology that God took something personal, but because of the act, or what could have been the act, God was going to punish them. But God prevented that, and then he also restored them. And then he rewarded Abraham with silver and land and animals and servants, which is ironic that God blessed Abraham, not because of the sin, not because of the lie, but because it's Abraham, and God had blessed Abraham and told him he'd make him a great nation, and he was providing for Abraham. So don't misunderstand that God was rewarding Abraham for lying. He was not rewarding him for lying. He was intending for the man to bless Abraham and give Abraham this stuff, but Abraham decided to take things in his own hands and not do it the way God intended, if that makes sense. Okay, it's a rather fast chapter, kind of. Chapter 21. Then the Lord visited Sarah, and he had said, the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did to Sarah as he had promised. Sarah conceived and bore Abram a son in his old age. At the time of which God had spoken to him, Abram called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born, and Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh over me. And she said, who would have said to Abram and Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have bore him a son in his old age. So basically then God fulfills his promise to Abraham and Sarah that they would actually have a child. And Abraham is 100 years old. I believe Sarah's 90 at this point. And even in the passage, when Isaac was 8 days old, he was circumcised. Just like Abraham was circumcised, Hagar was circumcised, so is Isaac circumcised. So, and then Sarah says, anybody who, it made Sarah laugh with joy. Like she's just like laughing, not like it's a joke, but laughing like it's amazing that it's actually happening, that she's nursing a child when she's in her 90s. And verse 8, God and the child grew and was weaned, and Abram made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son Hagar, the Egyptian, who she had bore to Abram, laughing So she said to Abraham, cast out this slave woman with her son, so the son of the slave woman shall not be heir with my son Isaac. And the thing was very displeasing to Abraham on the account of his son. God said to Abraham, be not displeased because of the boy and because of the slave woman. Whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you. For though Isaac shall your offspring be named, and I will make a nation of the son of the slave woman also, because he is your offspring. So Abraham rose early in the morning, took bread and skin of water, and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, along with the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered into the wilderness of Bathsheba. So Sarah doesn't like the Hagars around anymore, who has this child. So she basically tells Abraham to send her away. Abram's just doesn't like it because it is his son. Hagar's his son, but God encourages him to do this, which is weird because why would God encourage him to send his son off? Well, the reality is that God's going to bless that nation as well. Hagar is going to become a great nation, just as Isaac will become a great nation, and so God allows him to go off with Hagar to go off with Ishmael. So Ishmael's the child's name. I keep saying Hagar. Ishmael's the child's name. So he sends Hagar with Ishmael out, and God's going to protect them and make him a great nation as well. And then, yeah. Okay. Verse 15. When the water in the skin was gone, this is talking about Hagar now, again. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the child under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about the distance of a bow shot. For she said, let me not look on the death of a child. And as she sat opposite him, she lifted up her voice and wept. God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of the Lord called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy. Where is he? Up, lift up the boy and hold him fast with your hand, for I will make him into a great nation. Then God opened her eyes and saw a well of water, and she went and filled the skin with water and gave it to the boy to drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up and lived in the wilderness and became an expert with the bow and lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. So when they're about to die, they're out in the wilderness, they run out of water, they're about to die. God sends an angel to Hagar and says, what are you afraid of? God is going to make him, Ishmael, a great nation. Then she looks up, sees this well, fills it up with water, gives Ishmael something to drink, and then they go off and they finish their journey. They end up in Haran, where Ishmael finds a wife. Well, Hagar finds him a wife, and then they live happily ever after, so to speak. Well, they don't, but we don't get much more information about them from that point on, if at all any. Okay, 22. At that time, Amalek and Pekal, the commander of the army, said to Abraham, God is with you in all you do. Now, therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or my descendants or my posterity. I don't know what that word is, sorry. And as have dealt kindly with you, so that you will deal with me with the land where you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham approved Amalek about a well of water about Amalek's servants had seized. Amalek said, I do not know who has done this thing. You do not tell me. And I have not heard of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Amalek, and the two men made a covenant. Abram set 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart. And Amalek said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart? He said, these 7 ewe lambs you will take from my hand At this, be a witness for me that I dug this well. Therefore, that place was called Bathsheba, because there both of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Bathsheba, where Amalek and Pekal, the commander of the army, rose up and returned to the land of Philistines. Abraham planted a tarish tree in Bathsheba and called there the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourneyed many days into the land of the Philistines. So basically, this guy Amalek's now worried that Abraham will eventually conquer him, and asks for a peace treaty. I thought it was a mouthful, a lot of it. Again, I'm having problems reading today. But the mouthful is basically he has a treaty with Abraham, and Abraham gives him 7 ewe lambs and as a peace offering, and he also plants a tree. He dug him a well, basically saying, I'm on your side, I got your back, and everything. So that takes us to chapter 21. Hopefully it won't take me as long to record the next 2 chapters. We're going to get into some really good things coming up, and I'm really excited about the next chapter. And the next chapter may take the whole time. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.